morning here. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. My name's Ned. Mate, it's really good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Because, mate, Crash Test Dummies are finally coming back to Australia as part of the God Shuffle These Feet 30th anniversary. Long overdue, mate, but I'm so stoked. I finally get to see you live.
Well, that's nice to hear. We're very much looking forward to coming.
I mean, last time was what, 92? 92, right?
It might have even been earlier than that. Well, no, probably 92. It was off. We were touring on our very first record when we went to Australia, and it was a record called The Ghosts That Haunt Me. And it didn't really do very well outside of Canada. It did massively well in Canada, but
Hmm.
not so much otherwise. So our first tour to Australia was, small clubs, not great attendance, but it was a dream trip. I mean, we'd all wanted to go to Australia forever, and I even stayed there for a couple of weeks at the end of the tour and was a tourist.
Man, how's that? And you came back after that, didn't you?
No, we only went to Australia on our first record, and then on our second record, they exhausted me so much with
Yeah.
touring that by the time it was time to go to Australia, I was like, I'm done. I cannot do another date.
Wow.
And so we did not go to Australia, much to the disappointment of our label at the time, as you can well imagine, because that was our God Shoveled His Feet record, and that was a
Yes.
huge record.
It was massive because I remember when that dropped here and it was everywhere. I remember seeing posters in record stores, on TV, they had the ad for it. I could imagine that kind of success on a global scale and seeing, pictures of yourself everywhere would have been a bit difficult to adjust to begin with.
Well, it was a little surreal, all right. When I started getting recognized in the streets of any city around the world, it became, a little concerning. But that's just the way it is when you're on MTV like that. People get to know your face and they know who you are.
Definitely would have had its perks though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We had a tremendous time.
Oh, mate, I love it. I love it. Of course, the album took you places all over the world. I mean, where was the place that you never thought they would take you to?
I never thought it would take me to China, but we did go to Shanghai and then got had our show canceled for no apparent reason
Uh,
other than that they could. and
so what'd you do? You just
then
hang
they,
out? Like,
sorry,
what, did you just hang out for it, like while you were there? Like the show gets
well, as
canceled?
a matter of fact, what I did was the night our show was canceled, I went to this bar and there was a cover band playing there, and I almost considered getting up and doing with them. But I looked over my shoulder, and there were nine guys standing around dressed in exactly the same colored suit. And they were looking at a flyer for our show and comparing my face on the flyer to my face in real life. And I realized that they were the secret police.
Oh,
And and I was just drunk enough to go up to them and say, "Hey, how's it going? What are you guys doing here?" And they were like, "We are refrigerator salesmen." I'm thinking, I kind of doubt that somehow.
yeah.
So that was quite an adventure.
There's a song in that, I swear.
Yes,
Yeah.
I I tried to write a couple and failed miserably. Huh.
The refrigerator salesman. Mate. But of course, I mean, your cover of the Ballad of Peter Pumpkinhead was used in Dumb and Dumber and had Jeff Daniels in the video. It's one of my favorites. How was it working with him?
With Jeff Daniels, you mean?
Yeah.
Jeff Daniels is a gem of a guy. He was a fan of our first record, which is bizarre because I don't know many Americans who knew about that record. And he volunteered to come up and shoot a video, first thing in the morning, freezing cold Canadian day, and he just grinned and bore it and was delightful.
That's so
I,
cool.
I I really admire Jeff Daniels, and I really admire some of the roles that he's been in recently, like that one. What's that Netflix series called Godhead or something?
I haven't seen it.
You know that one?
No, I
Okay,
haven't
well,
seen it.
we don't have to talk about that then.
No, but I want to see it. Now I've got to go see it. So, but yeah, your third album, A Worm's Life. I love
Mhm.
that album. It's a bit heavier. So that's something what inspired the direction of that at the time? Because when I listen to it, it's not prog, it's not Rush, but it's got a little bit of those, little timings, a little bit of the distorted guitars, like
Yes, it is a very different record from God Shoveled His Feet, and as is our first record, Ghosts That Haunt Me, different from all the other records.
yeah,
I I have to confess, I didn't want to repeat myself. I didn't want to get bored and do the same thing all over again. So I purposely went out of my way to write a guitar-oriented record in a way that God Shoveled His Feet wasn't. God Shoveled His Feet has guitars on it, but
yes,
they're part of the blend, whereas in Worm's Life, they're more featured. Does that make sense?
yes, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, what do you got? You got a muffin? Is that a muffin?
A donut.
Oh, donut, man. I haven't had brekkie yet, so I'm fanging for. I wish you could. They're going to invent it one day where you can pass food through the internet to, it was like smell-o-vision, but it's Zumo Foodo. I don't know. They'll do it one day. And, there's a song on that record I really love, called "All This Ugly," which I think has, I've been personally finding it, relatable of late. You know, it just seems. Have you found that? I don't know, this day and age, and songs that you've written are swinging around lyrically for you, and have different meaning, or just come back into your life, and maybe a bit of foresight.
um, I'm not sure what the question is. Are you asking me about how my lyrics feel after time has passed? Is that
Yeah,
what you mean?
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to get the brain going. I haven't had my donut and coffee. But yeah, like that song, obviously years later has taken on a bit of meaning for me. But for you, how do your songs have that effect on you? Like years later, they'll swing back around and have a different meaning, or they'll be more significant now than what they were at that time.
Well, it depends entirely on the song, I think. Um, Superman's song seems a little bit more appropriate than ever, although I don't know if Superman's song ever got any airplay in Australia. That was our first record.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think that song, because it's political, uh,
Mm.
has taken on new meaning given the craziness of politics in the world right now. I'd be curious to know what you find different about All This Ugly in retrospect.
I guess for me, maybe it's just my interpretation, but I find with everything going on in the world, it's very overwhelming, and trying to find. I mean, I'm not seeing carcasses everywhere, but it's not garbage man. But I'm finding just it's hard sometimes to see the beauty beyond that kind of stuff, and I guess maybe that's what I'm seeing in the song. It's like you're trying to find the beauty in everything beyond.
Well, I feel it's yeah, I feel exactly the same way.
Mm,
It is a it is an absolutely crazy time right now.
yeah.
So much division,
Let's go back to
you know.
simplifying everything. Like, man, it's so overcomplicated. So, anyway, I don't want to make it a bummer. But, rest
We can move briskly on from there to a
on
new
from there,
topic if you
yeah,
like.
yeah. No, I'm starting to find myself it. But of course, you mentioned before about making, those albums different. I feel that all your albums have got their own personalities, which
Well,
is
thank you.
hard to do. Each song is its own standalone. Is that something you set out obviously to do with every record? You go, okay, I'm going to go in this direction, or this is something I haven't tried before.
Yes, on every record, I had a vision of an overall sound that I wanted to go after that was different from the last record.
Hmm.
Um, that's certainly true. Uh, and as far as the songs themselves go, standing alone, I mean, every time I've written a song, I have said to myself, this is going to be a hit. Like, I don't write songs unless I think they're the best they can possibly be and possibly be on the radio. Well, that was my mindset then, anyways.
Yeah.
I have a different mindset now, but that was definitely what was going on back then.
And like, what inspires you? Blah, blah, blah. Let me start that again. What inspires you musically? I got the 6 a.m.s. What inspires you musically and lyrically these days? Obviously, in the world we're living.
Yeah, I'm ashamed to say that I don't listen to a lot of new music. And by that, I mean music on the radio.
Mm.
Um, I have actually in my old age, I've turned to playing piano, classical piano, taking lessons, and also taking lessons in composition in the classical style. Um, and that has really consumed my attention. And as far as the music I listen to goes, it's stuff like Bach and
Mm.
Mozart and Schubert and people like that. I've fallen in love with what's called counterpoint, which is a way of writing music that Bach really went to town with. And yeah, it's all rather boring and drab, I'm afraid to say. It's not like I'm listening to anything groovy and new. I've just gone back to the old masters.
The classics, mate. The classics. But there's emotion in that stuff. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And craft.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can deconstruct that stuff and it just, I mean, look, I'm a metal dude, and a lot of that stuff I find is in a lot of stuff that I do. So more so than the pop
Well,
stuff, it's in.
yeah, and some of the metal guys, some of them are into Bach and have played Bach like on the electric guitar.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of who those players are, and their names aren't coming into my head, but I know I've heard that done.
Well, the theme song, well, the intro to the show is actually, I believe, Bach reconstructed as a tech metal. Like, if
Oh
I was in
wow.
my band, I said, I need a theme. Can you help me out? And he's like, yeah, man, I got you. And then just sends through this. Blah, 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 and I'm like, what? What is that? Where'd that come from? He goes, yeah, it's Bach, man. So if you're interested in hearing, I'm pretty sure it's Bach. He's like, we call him the unicorn because he's just light years ahead of his age. But yeah, yeah, yeah. If you get a chance, listen to it. The
I
intro.
I definitely will. I'm curious now.
Yes, I don't know what party took, but I gotta ask him. I gotta ask him. But of course, your most recent single, I believe, was Sacred Alphabet, and that came out last year. Is there more new music
Yeah.
on the way, like new album or?
I think I'm going to content myself with releasing a song at a time for the
Hmm.
next little while. And if it comes to pass that I write 10 songs, then I'll put out a record. But right now, I'm content to produce a little more slowly.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, I think you can hone in
We
on
do
that.
Sacred Alphabet live. It's one of the songs we get the biggest reaction to, which I find very gratifying because nobody's heard it. And hearing a song for the first time isn't necessarily the way you want to hear it when you go to a show, right? I mean, I know I want to know all the songs inside out when I go to a show.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, usually check your playlists and listen to it, but you're playing it on the Australian tour, right? When you
Oh
come here.
yeah,
Yeah, nice.
sure, yeah,
So
yeah. It's one of our crowd pleasers, so we're certainly going to play it. We'll be curious to know how it goes over there.
I'm keen.
Everyone listen to Sacred Alphabet before the show.
Yeah, crank it. Crank it. I'll be in Brisbane. I'll be at the show in Brisbane.
Oh yeah,
Bringing a crew with me, you know. Very, very
nice.
excited. Yeah, it's gonna be
Is that
cool.
where you are now?
I'm on the Gold Coast. Did you go to the
Oh, okay.
just which? that way a little bit, about an hour south of Brisbane. So,
Okay.
so that's all right. Do the drive. We'll have a good night. It's gonna be unreal. Can't wait.
Indeed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But of course, what's your plans after this tour?
My plans after this tour are to rest for a while. We've got a lot of shows coming up, and I think I'll be very glad to just take it easy.
Hey,
And I'll go back to my music lessons too, which I really love.
just to, hang on, just to add to that, would you want to write a score for a film or something like that? Is that something that you haven't done yet?
It's something I aspire to, but I'm definitely not there yet
Okay.
with my skills. Orchestration is a big deal. There's a lot to it. You have to know how the relative volumes of each instrument affect each other so that you can place them and make them, sound out. And there's just a million things that I know nothing about because I didn't come up in a symphony background. I came up in a rock and roll background.
Man,
So
I would
it's
love
taken me a while to get to this point.
I would love to hear what you would do, especially with your compositions and
Well, thank you.
stuff. It'd be so good. So just keep whatever you do. I'll be waiting for. I don't care how long. Just it'll be amazing, and I'll be there. I'll fly anywhere.
Okay. So listen, I think I have another interview in like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's cool. That's cool. Sorry to hold you up, but it's been
No, that's okay. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
yeah. It's been really. I'm very excited. If you can't tell, I'm trying not to fanboy out here, but we're gonna have all the links down the show on the show notes and on the website. Take care. Have a good when we'll see you, and we'll see you.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Excellent. Have a good day, brother. Take care.
Okay.
See ya.
You too.